Hi everyone, welcome to Research Like a Pro with DNA, our question and answer series. And this is Nicole Dyer. In today's video, we have Diana talking about using artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT to help take a DNA match list or a screenshot of one and import that into Airtable. And AI helps along the way by extracting the information from the screenshot, putting it into a table, and then allowing you to import it into an existing research log or some sort of Airtable template. So if you're already using Airtable and you'd like to learn how AI can help you get some DNA matches into your Airtable base, this video will help you with that. And this is an excerpt from our recent Research Like a Pro with DNA office hours from July 2025.
So another question was about downloading DNA matches into Airtable, and I decided to do this using AI. And so this is one really great use of AI to help us get information from a screenshot or a web page and then transform it so we can use it in other places. So I'll show some screenshots of what I did, but basically I took a screenshot of the Ancestry match page of the DNA matches. And then I tried both ChatGPT and Claude. They both will work fine with this. Probably Gemini would work fine too. And then I asked it to read the match list and create a table with all the information. And then I double checked the details. And with ChatGPT, it was off just a little bit on two of the DNA matches, like it read a 6 as an 8 or vice versa. I had actually made my screen really small so I could capture a lot. And so I gave it a pretty small screenshot to use. If I had just done a normal size, it may have been absolutely perfect. But then I just told it to fix those three little errors. And then I asked it to create just the table of the names. So in our Airtable base, we have the people as a separate table within it. And so I needed just to have all the names listed. And then I asked it to create a CSV file of the table with just the names. And then I imported that into the people table of Airtable. So I'll show you what that looks like. So here's my screenshot, and it was pretty small, and I got quite a few people on it because I made my screen smaller. And I asked it if it could read the DNA match list, and if so, create the table with the various pieces of information. And so it did. And then I asked it to anonymize the names using just initials so that I could easily show it here without showing people's names. And so it did that for me. And you can see it took that match list and it just made a nice table with all the different information that we typically see on the Ancestry page. And then I asked it to take these names and make a CSV file of that. And then I downloaded that. And then I also asked it to do a table with just the DNA data, like the centimorgans. I wanted just that as well because I wanted to upload both of those to Airtable. Now in Airtable, you can import from a CSV file. You can import from Excel, Google Sheets. You can paste table data. But this time, because it's really easy for AI to create a CSV for you, um, then I just decided to use that. The way you get this screen to pop up is at the bottom of your Airtable base, you go down to the add. You click on that and it will pop up the screen. And then you scroll down a bit until you get to data, that you want to add some data. And then once you say you want a CSV, it will say go browse for your file. And I browsed for the file and said import. And then it gives you the chance to say, yes, that looks like it's going into the right place before you do it. And then you can commit and it will bring people in. So I saw that it was bringing them in correctly. It was bringing them into the name in the people table. And of course, I would have their real names here if I wasn't showing this. But that, in about 5 minutes or less, you could bring in that all those people from the match page you were looking at. And if you had clustered it already or had a group, you could just bring in your group of people. So that was how I chose to do that. And then here you can see that they all show up right here in the people table. It automatically put in the date that I added them. And then I did the same thing with going over to the DNA uh, details page and added the amount of centimorgans. Now, because the test taker is linked to the people table, they don't show up yet. I have to go through and manually start typing them in. But because their full name is already in the people table, once I started just typing in, the first couple of letters, in this case, the initials, it just popped them right in. So it was really fast because I had them added already to the people table. And then I had the amount of DNA already noted here, and then I could just start typing them in. So, that's a fast way to get the two basic pieces in to your Airtable base. And then, of course, you could type in Ancestry once and then copy that all the way through. Depending on what other information you wanted to add from the match page, you could do that. But it gives you a head start, at least, of getting the names in and getting the amount of DNA in. So I am finding that whenever I have a problem like this, that AI can be really helpful. And all you have to do is just try it and see what works. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of fiddling with it to get it to be what you want it to be, but there are some options there.